Level 1. The Chosen. Your bank account shows negative $500. Your landlord has called 3 times this week. You stop picking up after the second. It is a Wednesday afternoon and you are sitting in a coffee shop nursing a $4 coffee you technically cannot afford, when a man in a suit that costs more than your rent sits down across from you. You did not invite him. There are 11 empty tables. He sits across from you anyway. He tells you your full name, your salary, the name of the woman who stopped returning your calls in April, your exact account balance, down to the negative $500. He slides a card across the table, 4 words on it. You have been selected. He stands up, picks up his espresso, and walks out. You sit there staring at the card for 6 minutes. Then you call the number. That was your first mistake. It was also the best decision you ever made. This is your life as every level of the Illuminati. Level 2. The Initiate. The address they give you is a building you have walked past 100 times and never thought about. Downtown, stone facade, no signage. You arrive at 9 in the evening, and a man opens the door before you knock. You are led through a hallway into a room with no windows. 6 people are sitting around a table. You recognize 2 of them. One is a federal judge, one is the CEO of a company whose products you use every day. They don't acknowledge the recognition. They look at you the way people look at a new piece of furniture. Assessing. You are given a document, 40 pages. You are told to read it and sign it. You ask if you can have a lawyer look at it first. One of the men at the table smiles without using his eyes. That is the only response you get. The document is a non-disclosure agreement. Except it isn't. It is a binding covenant with consequences described in language that sounds like a legal contract, but reads like a threat. You sign it. They tell you 3 things. 1. You were not chosen randomly. You have been observed for 2 years. 2. The organization you are joining is older than the country you live in. 3. The rules are simple. Follow instructions, ask no questions, tell no one. You nod. They give you a phone. It is not your phone. It is their phone. You carry it from now on, everywhere, always. You don't sleep that night. Not because you are scared, because you feel, for the first time in your adult life, like something is about to happen. Level 3. The Asset. 3 weeks later, your life changes in ways you cannot explain to anyone. You apply for a senior position at your firm. You are the least qualified candidate. You get the job. Nobody tells you why. Your new salary is $220,000 a year. You don't ask questions. The phone buzzes. The messages are specific and they are never wrong. Buy this, sell that, attend this event, sit next to this person, ask about this topic, report back what they say. The information you collect is boring on its face. A board member's opinion on a merger, a senator's private position on a bill, a tech founder's timeline for a product announcement. You pass it along, and the phone goes quiet. Then the market moves exactly the way the phone told you it would. Then the merger happens exactly the way the phone told you it would. You are not an analyst anymore. You are a microphone. You go to dinner parties, charity galas, industry conferences. You are pleasant and curious and entirely forgettable, which makes you perfect. People tell you things because you ask good questions and seem genuinely interested and will never, apparently, do anything with the information. You are doing plenty with the information. Your bank account now has a number in it that requires you to sit down when you first see it. You buy a car, you move apartments, you buy suits that cost what your old suits cost per month. You stop eating lunch at your desk. The phone buzzes again. New instructions. You're ready for the next level. You don't ask what that means. You already know better. Level 4. The Operator. The next level means you stop collecting information and start using it. You are moved into a position at an investment firm you have never heard of. It does not advertise. It does not have a website. Its clients are not companies. Its clients are the people who own companies. Your title is Senior Strategic Advisor, which means nothing and everything simultaneously. Your job is market architecture. You receive information ahead of time, information that cannot exist yet, about earnings reports, regulatory decisions, acquisition announcements. You position accordingly. 3 days later, the market moves. You make the firm $400 million in a single quarter. Your personal cut is $8 million. You are 23 months out of a mid-level job where you ate lunch at your desk. You also trigger a crash. Not a big one, just enough to shift wealth in the right direction. Some pension funds take significant losses. Some retirement accounts are wiped out. You read about it in the news the same way you read about weather in a city you've never been to. Relevant, but not personal. The phone buzzes. You're invited to a meeting. In person. Your first one. A building in Zurich. Underground floor. 12 chairs around an oval table. 7 seats are filled when you arrive. You don't recognize everyone, but you recognize enough. A former Secretary of State, a central bank governor, a man whose face you have seen on the cover of 3 different magazines in the last year. Nobody introduces themselves. Nobody needs to. They tell you that you have performed well. They tell you the next phase is political. You are going to stop moving money and start moving people. You nod. The former Secretary of State refills his water glass. He looks at you like you just confirmed something he already knew. Level 5. The architect. You are handed an election. Not a close one. A critical one. A Senate race in a swing state where the wrong winner would create problems for the order's legislative agenda in 3 specific policy areas you are briefed on in a document that is handed to you and collected again 30 minutes later. Your candidate has never heard of you. That is intentional. You work through layers. You fund his campaign through a network of PACs and shell donations that are technically legal, in the way that a lot of things at this level are technically legal. You hire the consultants. You write the messaging. You identify his opponent's vulnerabilities through intelligence you are provided without being told how it was obtained, which is fine, because you genuinely don't want to know. The opponent's vulnerabilities are significant. A financial arrangement from 11 years ago that was not disclosed. A private conversation recorded at a dinner that was supposed to be private. You release both, staggered, 10 days before the election. The timing is precise. Not enough time for recovery, exactly enough time for saturation. Your candidate wins by 14 points. He gives a speech about the will of the people. You watch it on a television in a hotel room in another state where you are already working on the next race. You run 4 campaigns simultaneously over the next 18 months, all 4 win. You have now seated 2 senators, 1 governor, and 1 attorney general. None of them know your name. All of them owe their careers to you, which means all of them owe their careers to the order. The phone buzzes. You've been doing very well. There's someone they'd like you to meet. Level 6. The ghost. The someone is a head of state, not a powerful one, a cooperative one. There is a difference, and at this level, you understand it completely. Powerful heads of state are problems. Cooperative ones are tools. The distinction is everything. You are now in international operations. Your work is no longer domestic. You are coordinating with intelligence agencies in 4 countries, not as an employee, but as a peer. You share objectives, you share resources. You do not share names. The operations you manage are not the kind that get declassified in your lifetime. A government in Southeast Asia is not cooperating with the order's infrastructure agenda. Their elected leadership is popular and stubborn and has twice rejected terms that would have been very profitable for several organizations in the order's network. You are assigned to solve this problem. You don't send soldiers, you send money. $20 million distributed across opposition groups, media organizations, and 3 military officials whose loyalty was, it turns out, available at a price. You disrupt supply chains. You engineer shortages. You make the current government look incompetent and the alternative look inevitable. 11 months later, the government falls. The new leadership signs the infrastructure agreement in their first week. You are in a hotel bar in Singapore when you read the news. You finish your drink, you take the elevator to your room, you order room service, you sleep 8 hours. The phone buzzes in the morning. Excellent work. You've been invited to join the 12. Level 7. The 12. There is no ceremony. You expected one. After everything you have seen, after every coded message and in-person meeting and operation that reshaped governments, you expected the inner circle to have something dramatic waiting for you. A room, candles, an altar, something cinematic. There is a breakfast meeting in Geneva. 12 people, eggs, coffee, orange juice. No phones on the table, no staff in the room. One of them pours his own coffee from a carafe in the center and then passes it to the person next to him. These are the people who run the world, not metaphorically, literally. The man to your left controls the editorial policy of 11 media companies across 6 countries. The woman across from you chairs the board of a foundation that administers the research budgets of 4 governments. The man at the head of the table has not appeared in any photograph in 16 years, and his name has never appeared in any publication that was not immediately retracted. They talk about the world the way other people talk about a project at work. A timeline here, a budget there, a personnel decision that will affect 40 million people, delivered in the same tone as a discussion about quarterly projections. You contribute. You are expected to. Your area is political infrastructure, and you know it better than anyone in the room. After breakfast, someone collects the orange juice glasses, and everyone stands and leaves. No goodbyes. The meeting is over. You take a car to the airport. You board a private flight. You look out the window at Geneva getting smaller below you. You have everything. You have a compound in the south of France. You have accounts in 7 countries. You have access to information that would end careers, destabilize markets, and rewrite histories if it ever became public. You also have not slept through the night in 4 months. Level 8. The Trap. You realize the trap at 39,000 feet somewhere over the Atlantic. It is not a dramatic realization. There is no single moment. It accumulates quietly the way all the worst things do. You are going through the instructions for your next operation, and you notice something. There is no exit condition. There has never been an exit condition. Not in the document you signed, not in any conversation you have had at any level. Nobody has ever mentioned retirement. Nobody has ever mentioned a conclusion. You think back to every person you have watched disappear at each level of this structure. The man from the Zurich meeting who stopped showing up, gone. The operator from Southeast Asia whose government contact started asking too many questions about the source of the money, gone. The campaign consultant who ran one of your elections and started developing opinions about how the results should go, gone. All of them removed with the same efficiency you have brought to every operation you have ever run. Because this is what you do. This is what the organization does. It does not negotiate. It does not warn. It identifies a problem and it solves it, and the solution is always the same. You are now one of the 12, which means you are now one of the 12 most powerful people in the organization, which means you are now one of the 12 most dangerous liabilities in the organization. You look at the phone, the one they gave you in a room downtown 4 years ago, the phone you have carried everywhere, always, the phone that knows your location at every moment of every day. You put it in your jacket pocket. You look out the window at the clouds. The phone buzzes. New instructions are waiting. You reach into your pocket. You read them. You follow them. Because that is what you do. That is all you do now. The most powerful person in the order is also the most surveilled. You know this because you helped design the surveillance. You know this because you have watched every person above you get removed and replaced, and you built the system that made those removals clean. And now you sit where they sat, in the chair at the head of the table, pouring coffee from the carafe and passing it to the person next to you. The person next to you is measuring you. They always are. You cannot leave. There is no paperwork for that. There is no meeting where you explain you'd like to pursue other opportunities. You know too much, and the organization has a consistent, documented approach to people who know too much and are no longer useful. Your job now is to not become that. Your job is to remain indispensable for as long as possible, which means making decisions that keep the machine running, which means making decisions that hurt people you have never met and will never meet, and sleeping 8 hours afterward, because you learned a long time ago that the body does not care about the moral weight of what the mind has authorized. Somewhere out there, in a coffee shop, a man in a suit is sitting down across from someone who didn't invite him. That person is going to call the number. That person is going to sign the document. That person is going to spend the next several years climbing levels they didn't know existed, accumulating power they can't hold without both hands, and eventually sitting in a chair where someone at the next table is measuring them the same way you are measuring everyone in this room right now. The order doesn't die. It doesn't pause. It doesn't mourn. It just finds the next one. It always finds the next one.